Okay. So is everybody able to see a screen when they get into this kind of blue background? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And so let me demo this and then I'll get you guys all signed in. Thanks for your patience. We're gonna do a really, really basic demo. We can choose new plant. Okay. And just to walk you guys through this, we have the option of custom plants or templates. Now, when you go to make your own EPDs for your plant, you'll just have this option of custom plants. Either you have a stationary or a portable plant. Today for training, we have some that are preloaded for you. So for a really, really simple example, I'm going to use this emissions inventory plant. I think actually Joseph built this. And we can make as many plants as we want in this simulator license over the course of today. But just to make it really simple, I'm going to make an example plant. We need an address. Remember, I mentioned we always need that metadata. And I'm going to call this my test facility mappa. And I'm going to give it an address. I tried to use the Minnesota State Capitol and it wouldn't let me work this, but the last time I tested this, I did Paisley Park and it was awesome. Somebody give me an address in Minnesota. Any address. Okay, 6325. 87 Southwest St. Cloud, Minnesota. All right. Cool. Now, you're not going to see all this red stuff. I have super mega admin status. Now, I have this facility. It's created. It's given a location. When you do this for your own facility, you will do exactly this step. I can go in, I can look at the production data and see what kind of stuff is entered. Now, this is just average stuff. Yes, Seth. Oh, is it not? Is it presenting the wrong one? Sorry guys. We are also recording this as a training for future use. So trying to make this work across multiple platforms. Thanks for your patience. Is that one better, Seth? Oh. Okay. So remember I mentioned we asked for total production, we asked for water use, we asked for waste. Now I know asphalt plant, you're gonna tell me there's no waste. I know you guys are really, really, really great at that. But if you ever have that green truck come by and pick up a couple of dumpsters of stuff, just to include that in here. We do know the number will be small. You guys are really, really efficient with using everything you have. We asked for waste. We asked for electricity. We asked for what kind of fuel you use in your on-site generator and how much of it. So when you go into this, it looks like there's just so much information here because it's like on-site generator and then there's this giant list of fuels. But really, chances are you're only going to enter one. And then it gets even worse because we go to burner fuel. And then there's an even more giant list of fuels because we had to put in every fuel known to mankind. Someone somewhere in the United States is burning bituminous coal in their burner. And I would like to shake them because we had to put that in the tool and it was a real pain. Okay. But it seems like a lot of stuff, but once you get into your own information, it's really not that bad. But we have this pre-populated. So for demonstration's sake, I'm just going to skip right to a mix, and we're going to create the world's simplest mix together. I'm going to make a new mix, and you guys can do this along with me if you like. Got this big red bar at the top that says remaining mass budget is 100% out of 0.1% tolerance. Basically what that says is your mix numbers don't add up. I'm going to give this a mix ID, and usually you have some kind of really perfect mix ID that tells you a lot of information, but because I'm demoing, I'm calling this Leanna Mappa test mix.
We want there to be specific mix design ID for the mix.
There we go. The mix ID, awesome. So you would put in your Minnesota specific MnDOT mix ID. And here it asks for, mix specification entity, I'd probably put in MnDOT. If there's a mix spec name, 2360. You guys can tell this is where I start to fall apart. You can enter all kinds of data that helps MnDOT identify this mix. I'm going to skip a lot of this so you're not bored watching me type stuff in. It does require you to say if it's a hot mix or warm mix. I'm just saying a hot mix. What's a reasonable minimum temperature for a hot mix, team? Somebody tell me. 310. And what's a reasonable max temperature? 300 to 310? Okay. This is definitely not right. But now we're into the bit where we're really putting in information about our mix design. So here is what's in the mix, how much of it, and how far did it have to drive? Or if you are lucky enough to be by rail or ship, yeah. When you enter your data about your plant? What you actually did. Oh, that's such a great question. So someone asked, do you kind of do it as designed or as built? Almost that's a little bit up to MnDOT. Because you are getting asked for this data after you are providing the product, I would do as built. So we're going to do a really, really, really simple one together. I'm going to say it's 10% wrap. No, 5% wrap. Super simple. I process my wrap on site. That's cool because that allows me to make a truck distance of 0 for my wrap folks. I'm going to say there's no shingles in this one. I'm going to say 90% of the mix by mass is this one aggregate. I chose a source. You can enter information about your own sources. We'll talk about that in a moment. And I'm going to say that I drove this aggregate from my favorite buddy down the road. He is 12 miles away. Okay. And then this is a really, really, really simple mix. So I'm going to say I just have an unmodified binder. It's 5%. And that came by barge 200 miles. And then it got trucked an additional, 30 miles from the port. Google Maps is your friend on this. Okay. I'm going to say no binder additives, no mix additives. And I'm going to save it. And now I can see my results. Cool, guys. I'm ready to be a pavement engineer, right? Emil's like, no. So now I'm gonna stop presenting. I'm gonna get those folks set up who didn't have licenses, and I'm gonna let you guys spend some time just playing around in it. But first, it looks like there's a few questions. I see people giving me that look. Oh, default is 50, yeah. What if it's 1 mile? That's okay. If you have an on-site quarry, this will accept as low as 0.1 miles. Please be realistic, right? But that happens all the time where it's just across the yard over to your quarry. We set 50 in there so that people can't there's a general idea in LCA where we have to estimate conservatively. We don't know a number, we want to be conservative. Better to estimate too high and then come in and beat expectations than estimate too low and revise it back later, right? Just like project deadlines. Yeah. Good question. So for on-site quarries, you can set that number as low as 0.1 for your transport. Any other questions before I get folks set up that weren't set up? I would like to have you guys just kind of play around in this tool. Couple suggestions. You can, oh my goodness. Some things you can play with. You can try making a mix. You can try changing the burner fuel. You can try using a mix with additives. You can try making a mix with wrap. Try making the same mix and then make the same mix again with wrap. See what changes. See how things update. Okay, any questions before we just go into play around mode for a little while? Yeah, David.
Whatever actual production that but I do think that's maybe another one way and right now it's made to sun. We either make to sun before with this. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Oh, sorry.
Specific things. Yeah, that's another life. Very close to them. Okay. Because what you have, I have access to finance and components here. One did with the specification, which is anyone who can use that for it, the remaining time number is your.
Okay. So 20 minutes, team, and then we'll talk about some of the other, we'll keep building.